Good afternoon, ladies and gents. It's that time again. Feels like Groundhog Day. We are now on Anvil for Invictus launch week, and it's going to be the Asgard today. I'm probably expecting that that's going to be the only big surprise, but that's where we are. Thank you for joining us. Omnipresence TV, Pilgrim, Socially Confused, Space Saga, Notorious, and everyone else that is lurking in chat. Good to see you all. Just going to muck around with the camera a little bit, so I'd at least a little bit centered. Couple more things than just Invictus to talk about, and we'll try and cover those before we set off. We have the roadmap roundup and a little bit of a preview now as to what's coming in 4.2. We also have confirmation of the extra Idris waves that they're putting on, because lots of people having problems with that stuff earlier on in Invictus. So that's where we are. Hopefully everything's working all right, because you're all kind of here, and I'm just hoping that you can hear me and that it's all going okay. Someone let me know in chat. Go on, give me a clue. But yes, so exciting in the UK because we're going into a 3-day weekend. So yeah, looking forward to that. Fantastic, all good. Great stuff. T-Jack, hello, welcome my friend. Good. The weather in the next event sounds intense, and now I can't hear you. Oh, okay. Wait, why can you not? Hey, Hellwinter, good to see you, my friend. Jag Mason. Hellwinter, it's been a while, mate. I know you're active in the Discord and stuff, but good to see you. Rude socially. Hello, boss. Good to see you all. Yeah, so we're going to jump across. We're going to have a look at the roadmap roundup, because we've got about 12 minutes. Quick look at the Idris waves, and then we are going to have a look at all of the stuff. Jamaus, good to see you, mate. Right, let's have a look. Let's jump across and see what's going on. So the first part, you will be unsurprised to hear that it's all the 4.1 stuff gone to released. Interesting stuff comes in with the 4.2. We are getting multiple creatures. Big worm, question mark. Boreal stalker, question mark. We don't know. Some hairstyles. A whole 4. Hopefully, we get my kind of weird quiff. Have my head sharpened. Devonshire look. Hey, AV. AV, you are more than welcome to bet on prices. However, I am far too old and bold for nonsense like that. So if you guys want to vote, you go straight ahead. I'm not sure that I'm going to. The Starlancer speed is getting a big increase too. It's actually faster than the Idris. Well, you'd hope so, right? Given the difference in the two ships. Hey, Jock Cop, Anvil fanboy in the chat. Trying to get back in the groove, says Hellwinter. Good. Well, I'm pleased to see you, mate. If the new zone doesn't have cockroaches in the radiation zones, yeah, we want rad roaches, right? And funny enough, socially, because that's the next part in there, implementing dangerous radiation zones in specific locations. Forcing players to adapt with specialised gear, more on that in just a moment, and strategic navigation. In other words, don't go stand in the stuff that makes your rad counter go mental. Otherwise, you're dead. And that's that. Del Kenobi, hello mate, good to see you. We've then got the ASD. So ASD, Associated Science and Development. We've got some on Pyro 1. And we got some on Pyro 4. At least I'm assuming there's some. It might just be one location in each. So, the research facility. Strategically located on Pyro 1, associated science and development facilities that provided essential infrastructure and sandbox gameplay opportunities for planetary operations. And then the development data centers is pretty much the only change in the data center one. Adding a sandbox activity utilizing new gameplay mechanics and vehicles to tell new stories in the verse. So new vehicles, interesting, because of course that's not coming at ILW, so it'll be interesting to see what those are. But yes, all of this stuff coming the next. So this looks similar in the way it looks on this card to what they did with Hathor, right? They said there was new sandbox and new locations, then we got the planetary alignment facilities, we got the OLPs, and that was that, right? The most disappointing thing that has happened in Star Citizen since the launch of the Flight Blades, which, isn't saying much, but, quite recent as well, is the Argo Atlas IKTI. that thing, the abomination at Wicklow's, is actually available for will be available for release. Ready to prove its value in an upcoming sandbox activity. So there's going to be something around that, but yes. It's hard not to read across with the Asgard, the TAC, and now this all coming up with a sandbox activity. A lot of people seem to be thinking that it's pointing towards Sandworm. We'll see. Very possibly, but then again, it could be something entirely different. Hathor came out of the blue. We'd last seen that when they were talking about Theatres of War. That was the Theatres of War setting, and now they've ported the kind of locations across into Star Citizen proper, into the PU, and that's what we got. So, you know, again, not wanting to jump the gun, but certainly something. More Wicklow special ships in return for favours. A Volt laser shotgun, a cutting-edge energy shotgun that ramps up its pellet spread with heat, delivering brutal close-range bursts, powered by Volt. That's coming too, and then to run alongside the radiation gameplay, the Sterling Exploration Suit. Introducing the Sterling Exploration Suit, a heavy utility armor built to withstand extreme radiation, enabling safe traversal through the most hazardous zones. So it sounds like this is something we're going to need to bring, which, you know, we'll see. It's a heavy armor as well, right? So it's just going to become, I think, probably the de facto new armor that everyone's going to wear. But we'll see. Dynamic rain. Dynamic rain in specific locations is a first step towards Genesis dynamic weather. The way I read that, I kind of chuckled to myself, because how I've read that is dynamic rain in fixed locations, which is a bit of an oxymoron, right? But, you know, rain turning on and off. Just the fact that we're getting rain looks seems really cool. The fact that the weather's going to start amping up. You know, I'm still waiting for them to deliver on that wind thing that they did in Planet Tech, when they showed Planet Tech V4 at CitizenCon way back when you looked out the windows at the Microtech and all the trees were giving it this because they had a storm blowing through. Excited to see a little bit more of that. A new global event. Interesting. Coming in a point patch. So, cross-shard event that builds collaboration and competition. Again, anyone's guess for that one. New space combat mission Defend, which I kind of thought we had in. I'm really defend various places against attackers. So rather than defending a ship, you're defending a static location, which doesn't feel particularly new, but you know, hopefully they'll do something exciting with it. And a new medium utility armor. The interesting word here is a legendary medium utility armor. Whatever legendary armor is, there's one of those coming. So if that excites you, great. If that's not spinning your props, then that too, right? But yeah. So, and then obviously most of that's coming in the progress tracker, global event 4.2.x, space combat mission, defend, FPS radar and scanning, and engineering gameplay. With the reminder that always goes there, because it goes on the progress tracker and then completes, doesn't mean it's ready for the game. It's just that work that they can do on it. Hello, Sebastian. To AV and to everyone else that has kind of appeared whilst I've been talking, welcome. If you're also here and you haven't said anything, welcome to you too. You don't need to talk to get a welcome from me, but yeah, we see. The Sterling suit is fugly, says Notorious. That's a shame. I'll use credits to buy it. I can't justify real cash for ground vehicles. This is the ICT thing, and just because we've got 4 minutes, I'm just going to jump across while we're talking about this, and we shall have a look at the Idris waves, and I'm just going to leave that on the screen. If you're not interested in them, then this doesn't matter to you. If you are interested, then great. But these are the additional waves that have been announced on the screen. Ta-da! Are my arms going? Yes, at least they're going the right way now. I had the camera reversed, so I would point towards the screen it was on, and it would point the other way, so it looks like I was just pointing off your monitor at whatever you have over here. That's not the case now. I'm now pointing the right way. I don't know what I'm doing. Cool. So, Social Computers, I really hope that the Meg gun can't cleanse radiation. It's almost already too much of a magic wand. Agreed. Have you been hit by lightning? Oh my god. Are we talking rain? Or are we talking storms and lightning? because they're not necessarily the same thing, right? You can have one without the other. But if that's what they're talking about adding, been looking at puddles and trying to see if the audio matches the rain. I'm not getting enough drops per second to match the rain. Refund. It will be fun for the patch, some people will get bored with it. That thing is too cheesy. You mean the ICT there? The basically the Atlas combat thing that is, for me, they've implemented it right in terms of what I think it's going to be able to do. Incredibly slow going forward, strong armor to the front, weaker to the sides and rear. That is great. In terms of the actual aesthetics and how it looks, it's not good. It looks like someone strapped a gun to a power loader. Like, look at I'll probably do a video on this to have a whinge, because that seems like all I'm doing at the minute, and just show you some of the, for those that haven't seen them, the Titan suit concepts that just blow this thing out of the damn water. Just make it's like there are Titan suits, and then there's the Atlas ICT, which you buy from like Temu or Wish.com. It's that. The Atlas ICT is the Wish.com version of an Atlas suit, and don't buy from Wish.com. That's bad. Not getting any sponsorship from them anytime soon. So yes, MK Excellent. Am I getting that right? Mark Excellent, MK Excellent. Apologies if I'm butchering that, which I absolutely am. But I had a stab, and that's the important thing. So the rad suit is chonky. Yeah, kind of expected that. Looks like a bomb disposal suit. Good. So you'll at least know that's what people are doing. Looks like an old diving bell helmet. When? Question mark. Yeah, I do like that we're getting another environmental suit. Absolutely socially. Hey, Sebastian, welcome in. Good to see you, my friend. I wonder if they'll add high-pressure environments and equipment to go with it. So we have a high-pressure environment. It just doesn't function like that. So the idea with Crusader is that if you continue, soon TM, if you continue on towards the center of the gas giant, you will experience crush depth, and your ship will turn into a tin can. Figuratively and literally. So whether, I don't think there's a suit that will necessarily prepare you for extreme depth like that, but we'll see. This is the future, right? There could absolutely be those sorts of things. So yes, it's so exciting testing. Sometimes a Space Saga, yeah, exciting for the second that you get hit by lightning, and then awful when you're trying to limp away and get healed after that for about an hour. You know they'll make more variants of the ICT. Yeah, I want a complete replacement. I was hoping the ICT was going to be some sort of like, you know, kind of cobbled together civilians trying to make a version of the Atlas suit that was going to be some sort of in-game thing that maybe you could go and get at a location for a mission like they've said, but then can't go, you know, if you put it in your hangar, it doesn't stay there, that sort of stuff. And then give us something better. And the only reason I want that, I don't have a problem with the issue of Titan suits. The only thing I'm bothered about is the fact that it looks Chad compared to what they kind of showed us before. Okay, so let's have a look then. We have hit the right time. Have they refreshed the store for us? Let's find out. We're still on tumble, so I guess not. I'll hit F5 again in a couple of seconds. You guys are making it really hard. What's the idea with the names? Yeah. So, is it? Did I get it MK Excellent or is it Mark Excellent? I don't know which one I got right. I took loads of guess. Hey, Listic, we're just about to find out. I'm sure we are also going to get something on YouTube video, and we'll watch that too. That's why I'm sat here. I am frantically, this is why I'm not looking at you guys, I'm frantically refreshing in the background to make sure. Here it is. We have it now. So let's kill this. We have a video on the Asgard, so we're going to have a look at that first. That's what the... Stop. Thank you. Let's go and have a look at this. The Anvil Asgard, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look. I'm just watching the other screen to make sure that it's copied across. There we go. Let's have a look.
The Anvil Asgard is the Valkyrie on steroids. It's
Of course it
here
is, power
to
grid.
deliver larger vehicles than the Valkyrie is capable of, but without the troop deployment side of it. This is for the person with a Nova tank that doesn't have a big enough garage.
I would say it's a beast with tons of weapons. It's ready for action combat.
I cannot imagine a ground vehicle that won't fit in the back of this ship, but I know where we work, so I think that's probably not a good idea to say. The big exterior changes are we've now got our missile rack on top of the ship.
It also looks more aggressive because all of its weapons now face forward. We've got 2 new wings on the top. They are now supporting engines instead of guns. We have new rear thrusters to help it propel itself. Now it's carrying a tank. I think one thing to notice is the underwing of the thing. It looks structurally sound. We really tried to make that extra wing that's now carrying an engine look like it can carry an engine.
We've also extended and thickened the rear ramp
It's a good-looking
entrance
ship.
so that the bigger Nova can actually fit.
If you're dropping into a battlefield for like a beach landing or something, you just like shoot everything at once, clear the area to let the tank or whatever come out the back.
We also have a few cool paints. My personal preference is the copper paint.
From the outside, it's obviously impressive. You don't really like get the full scope of how big it is until you like enter through those front doors and you see the roof just super far above your head. The hangar interior, it's basically just like huge cavernous space. Like a very tall area. It's almost, I've heard it described as being church-like. The side walls repeat in a fashion that's similar to like a cathedral. And at the end of it is a window to habitation that draws your eye towards it.
We've cut the crew complement down from 4 to 2 because there's only a pilot and a turret gunner / engineer now. So we have a full bunk for the pilot and the gunner. We then have a little bathroom off to one side.
Really comfortable habitation, suit locker, decent weapon rack.
And a chow line, I think is what we call it still. It also has a slightly bigger cargo grid than the Valkyrie. This one gets up to 180, but that's floor to ceiling in the back there, so it can be a little unwieldy if you do fill it up all the way. It's kind of in that weird spot where it's a military ship with an enormous cargo hold, so it kind of gets the best of both worlds.
You can get your tank on the battlefield with ease.
Providing as much fire as it wants to, you've then closed that ramp, lifted back off, and got the hell out.
Well, interesting. I had to remember I put myself on mute then. Yeah, an interesting bit of kit. Thoughts? Question mark. Whilst I kind of skip over and let's have a look at the price. I see you guys are commenting about the price. Let's go and grab it up on screen. And, well, here we go. The Anvil Asgard. What are we looking at in terms of prices here, I wonder? Oh, is it on here? No, of course it isn't. Let's go to the Asgard itself. Go straight to the bottom. Let's see the business end of this bad boy. What are we... yeah, that's a shame. Let's have a look. Where are we cost-wise? Okay, so the Asgard War Bond 390, including tax, or what's that? Asgard, so yeah, 350, 470, 350, 70 tax. So it's 350 normal, and then whatever it is, War Bond. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, let's go back through this, and then cost-wise we'll come back to, because my mental math is not working great. $25 cheaper than the Valk, says Nkasune. Yeah, mate. So let's have a look. I mean, there's a couple of very clear kind of. Let's talk about it on its own first. I started a sentence and then thought the first thing that I'm doing is comparing this to the Valkyrie, and whilst that's a very sensible thing to do, let's talk about it in and of itself. What's interesting here is they're giving people with a Tonk a way to get it places without having to move it around in a C2. The downside of that is that you are only paying, is it $50 less than the C2? So certainly with the war bond earlier, it's not a massive kind of improvement, and it's certainly, whilst it is doing a little bit of the gunship role, so much of it is facing forward, right? So you need to be pointing at stuff, which interestingly from a pilot, their situational awareness drops because what they're doing is they're focusing at what they're looking at, right? And by maneuvering like that, whereas, you know, if it's flying around in a circle like the TAC would be, unleashing hate from one side or the other, the pilot's, yes, he's just doing a loop, right, and making sure he's in the right position, but he's also able to watch the radar, and he doesn't go and get tunnel visioned into what he's shooting at. So from pure gunship role, I still think the TAC, and other ships like the Redeemer and the Paladin have the advantage over this thing, right? But clearly that's not its only role. The interesting thing here is it seems to be straddling the lines between the two. Because if you are playing a gunship support role, the missiles are an interesting choice. So that's kind of strange. You're clearly not going to be doing that much fightering. Fighters are going to get in behind you if they can get in behind you and stay above you, you can't do anything about it. You're in trouble. So, you know, you can. It doesn't look like much of this other than the missile system is going to be able to turn around and stuff, and that relies on the missile mode because you've got to be able to see it, and so on and so on. So yeah, prices insanity, says Hellwaiter. Insanity high or insanity low? Because that's the interesting thing, right? Is that to transport one Tonk, you're talking $50 less than the C2, something in around that realms. So yeah. So interesting. What else is it saying here? Let's have a look. You know, I can see this from a scenario point of view, right? Let's say you're launching an assault on something and it's out in front of you like a player base. You can imagine, just like you see here, one or two of these things coming down and they are just unleashing hate in front of them, right? Whilst the tank gets out of the back. And then the tanks come round and that sort of stuff. It doesn't really have that combat deployment like the C2 M2 does forward, where you can open the ramp and the tank can immediately engage. You kind of want to go in front ways, right? So the tank comes out facing the same direction, like that. You lift off and then the tank moves forward to engage. So some interesting, you know, it's going to take a little bit of coordination between pilot and Tonk and a little way thinking about loading, so that you don't come out and immediately expose your side and rear armor to the bad guys, right? Or force the Asgard to stay on the deck whilst you orient the tank the right way around. So that's kind of interesting. Dark Lord Ken, hello, 950, welcome in. Hello, good to see you all guys. Enkasune and everyone that I haven't said, Listic and all that sort of stuff. Artemis, good to see you, bud. Yeah, so there's that. So that looks interesting. I mean, it's... What do we say here? Oppressive array of missiles, pilot weapons, and manual turrets, plural. Asgard substantial armor. Great. A substantial armor and heavy shielding. It is just... It's running up to the Valkyrie and giving it a swift kick in the nuts, isn't it? Like, really badly. Really good-looking ship, I gotta say. I kind of like it more from the artwork than I do actually running around it in the game. But maybe because I've not really been looking at it that much. I kind of went in and had a run round. But that was that. So what have we got? We've got one dual gimbal for the pilot. 4 mounts of one size 3. And then everything else. Okay, so what do we got paint-wise? Factory standard. Last light. Nice, like that one. Sandsea. Do you know what? These paints are looking better than a lot of the ones that they've done. And then the Valhalla. I guess that's what he meant about the copper paint, right? They're calling it the Valhalla. I call it the Citizens for Posterity paint you've got to now pay for. You don't get this one for free, but that. So yeah, keeping my Valks as Dark Lord. Looks like an XL Cutlass. Black, says Sebastian. Yeah, Super Cuddy Black. Others, Asgard and Nova tank for $400 war bond. Wow. Okay. It makes sense that it's cheaper because the true comparable for the Asgard is the C2. Yeah, agreed. In terms of purpose, sure. Other packs, not add-ons. Sorry. Yeah, no worries, Shevitz. But thank you for highlighting that to everyone. Price is insanity, definitely earning games, says Hellwinter. So she says, UE would dropping these on mass, can afford to lose these compared to an M2. Yeah, very possibly. Just tuned in, says Janos Morrissey. What does this cost? So we're looking at 390 War Bond, 420 standalone. So 350 without tax, basically, for the non-War Bond version. So there's that. Django... sorry, Jangmo88. I misspoke. Jangmo88 says, big meh, nothing worth buying here. MH is less than the Valk, or mate, sorry, she's less than the Valk. She is less than the Valk. Catastrophe and Wrecker Asker says, it has less HP than the Valk at the moment. Interesting. Great points, it is the Citizens for Pyro one. It really, really is. It really is. Yeah. Asgard is perfect for what some people want. Absolutely. They purposely made it cheaper so folks wouldn't upgrade the Valk. Hey, Timble. Good to see you. So yeah. Interesting. And then, so you've got the packs here as well. So the Asgard and Nova dropship pack. So, yeah. With tax. So you said $400, obviously without tax. With tax, it's still quite expensive. That's rough. Valhalla paint by itself, and there's your paint packs, because it doesn't always seem to show all of them, but this time it looks like they're all there and they're all on display, because there's the 4 paint pack, and that's what we saw in the paint selector. It's an interesting ship. I can see, like, this is definite, like, a downed, crude version of the Valk, right? In that everything's facing forward. Other than that big chin turret, you've got the remotes as well. Whether they can be slaved, I haven't tried yet. Obviously, because I've been sat here with you guys. Yeah, interesting. And then a War Bond upgrade. Okay, so what are we looking at? So 325 War Bond, 350 standard. And because they're upgrades, obviously, you don't pay tax on the price. You pay tax on the price of your upgrade. So that's what we're looking at. Yeah, interesting that it comes in cheaper than the Valk. The Valk has a higher crew requirement, I think, to operate offensively to the same standard. The Valk's just the Valk is just far more players, because you're dropping people. You know, you drop a Tonk, it's 3 crew, right? You drop a Storm, it's 1. You drop a Valk, to fully use the Valk, you're talking about a lot of vehicles, a lot of people, you know, the smaller vehicles and stuff like that, or bikes or whatever, which is no bad thing. I'm not saying that one is worse than the other. It's just different things, right? If you're going to use 2 or 3 people plus a vehicle crew, the Asgard clearly is the choice. You know, if you're doing org ops, you're going to need a lot of Asgards to deploy the same sort of player count that you would with 1 or 2 Valkyrie. So yeah, it's an interesting looking ship. Definitely a tasty bit of kit though. It's funny, I like the exterior, but I dislike the interior, says Jag. Agree, but they also didn't want folks trading in. This ship makes all the changes Valkyrie owners have been clamoring for. Yeah, it would be a little bit, I guess, cynical. I'm using this word a lot, this ILW, but it would be cynical of them to, instead of make changes to the Valk, to then just release it in a different hull. But yeah. I would definitely not be bringing the Asgard into a fight, says Inkasune. It'll be landing back from the action to deploy the tank. Each of these drop seats are expensive, so socially, yeah. I upgraded my Aquila for $10, says TJek. Haven't used it in ages. There are plenty other exploration ships. I'll keep my Connie to the Phoenix and Taurus. Sorry, I'll keep my Connies to the Phoenix and Taurus. Yeah, interesting. Is there a Q&A for it? We'll have a look in just a sec, socially. Inkansune says, wait until Maelstrom comes in and armor makes sense, then you'll understand. Yeah. We shall have a look. So, I'm just going to go back here. Let's see what we can find. Okay. Let's see if we've had a Q&A. They did say there would be, and there is. Ta-da! Okay, so the Q&A says what? What is the key difference between the Valkyrie and the Asgard? In what situations might a player choose one over the other? The primary difference is the Asgard chassis has been extended to accommodate the onboard storage of a single Nova Tonk or one of the Anvil Atlas family. However, this is the expense of crew accommodation and drop streets, which the Valkyrie houses. The crew requirement for the Asgard is lower than the Valk, which we've said, as some weapons are slave to the pilot, allowing for significant forward-facing firepower. In comparison, the Valkyrie's turrets provide greater coverage in all arcs beyond the front. How many people can be accommodated? There's no dedicated drop suits. The crew requirement is only 2 players, these being a pilot and the second player either operating the manual lower turret or completing engineering-related work. If the Asgard pilot is alone and without a gunner, how many forward-facing weapons can they operate? So all 6 forward-facing size 3s and the top-mounted missile rack. So the chin turret, and then the 2, or the 4 rather, the 2 twin size 3 shoulder kind of weapon systems. Interesting. Are the 2 size 4 manual gunner turrets available to fire in an arc, or are they fixed to face forward? The gunner turrets can rotate 360 degrees with good downward-facing angles, allowing players to engage ground targets ahead of dropping vehicles into the area. So exactly what we said, right? A lot of forward-facing firepower, clear the LZ, lay down hate and suppression towards the enemy, and then allow the tank to get out of the back and buy it some breathing space to orient, figure out what's going on around it, and then, you know, start doing some damage. The Asgard has a significant amount of forward-facing weaponry, other than multiple turrets covering all angles of defense as found on other dropships. What was the reasoning behind the design choice? We wanted there to be gameplay differences between the Asgard and other dropships, like the Valkyrie. It was a conscious design decision to provide most of the firepower as forward-facing to distinguish the Asgard. Yeah, if you give it an all-round arc, if you get everything, the ability to fire in lots of different directions, it becomes harder to distinguish. I see what they're saying there. What was the reasoning behind equipping the Asgard with 16 size 3 missiles? What threats or targets is it specifically designed to encounter or counter? The missiles were added to provide some ability to tackle threats outside of the front arc. However, missile lock is only possible from the pilot's view. Interesting. So it is very much a forward-facing. Ta-da! Let's have a look. What else have we got? Can you provide examples of missions, roles, or scenarios the Asgard is intended for? The Asgard excels in missions that require transporting ground missions or ground vehicles and cargo, either together or independently. With its large rear ramp, loading and unloading cargo is simple. Except if you stack it right to the ceiling, it's going to be a pain to get those out. You're going to have to do it kind of in like Tetris vertical slices rather than layer by layer. Does the Asgard feature a cargo grid in addition to its 180? Why would it do that? Could this be used to transport ammo, fuel, or other equipment? The 180 USCU cargo grid is the only cargo grid on the vehicle, occupies the same area as the vehicle storage. This means that when a vehicle is aboard, cargo capacity is reduced. Yeah, and that's no surprise, right? Hey, Rusty Pigeon, good to see you. Does the Asgard retain the lateral doors from its sister ship, the Valkyrie? Yes, along with the side door guns. So that's kind of cool, right? You open the side doors, deploy the single turret thing, and then have at it. Does the pilot have good visibility beneath them to aid in landing troops? Is there an MFD landing camera system? We're still working on updated landing systems that utilize the radar displays to show the location of the ship. So basically, it's the same as the Valk. It's gonna, you're gonna have to go third person to land it. Can the fourth thrusters transition to VTOL mode? Yeah, we saw that in the video. Is it possible to apply Valkyrie paints to the Asgard? No. Likely because of the extra wings, right? Is that they're going onto a separate pattern ship. So yeah, interesting. I'm sure that's going to upset a few people. Yeah, so the war bomb price is without tax, obviously. So if you want to go up to the actual war bond for this thing, sorry, I'm just going to cycle back through again. Oh, sorry. Oh God, here we go. Scoot. So war bond with tax 390. Because of course the ship value is not the same as you've got to add 20%. At least here you have. Don't know what it's like elsewhere where you guys are. So yeah, an interesting ship, interesting setup. Looks really punchy like the Valkyrie. Those extra wings don't actually hurt the aesthetic, I don't think. Nice to have something armored and with a lot of forward-facing firepower to come and bring tanks into the fray, like that too. Yeah, I think the interesting thing about all that forward-facing weaponry starts to answer some of the questions around how does this fit in with the other gunships? Other drop ships? How does this differ from the gunships? Right? Where's everything starts to slot together? And I think that's it. Right? Is that the pilot to do all that is going to become very tunnel visioned on what they're firing on. Meaning that their situational awareness elsewhere is going to drop. So if something comes in and gets the drop on you, you're probably going to react much slower than the other gunships because they're going to be, the pilots doing the loop, just concentrating on, where they're flying and making sure everyone can shoot, but still actively monitoring the radar display, keeping an eye on what is happening elsewhere around the ship. With this, not so much. Chances are your other crewman is going to be in the turrets having loads of fun blasting away, not necessarily keeping an eye on what's going around them. So where does this differ from gunships? Well, that's it, right? Is that sort of stuff's going to happen. If you then just focus on providing the turret, it becomes a very ineffective gunship, right? Because you've got 2 size 4s, that's it. So yeah, an interesting split between the two. Let's have a look at the specs, see where we are with the shields. Here we go. Full technical specs. Let's have a quick look. I think it's because I'm out of this. Let's have a look. Okay. So, shield generators 4 size 2s, coolers 3 size 2s, battery 1 size 2, life support size 2, radar size 2. Gravity generator size 2, so these are all mediums. Fuel intakes 2 size 2 power plants, a size 2 quantum, 1 quantum fuel tank, 1 fuel tank. It doesn't say the sizes, interestingly, at the moment. A size 2 jump drive, and then 6 main, 2 retro, 12 maneuvering thrusters. So yeah, interesting. 1 dual slot, 1 triple slot. It's interesting to see like the evolution of these tech specs with everything else. These are going to read like proper technical manuals sooner or later, because then they're going to have to add computers, blade arrays, all that sort of stuff. It's going to get kind of crazy. Data storage and all that. Pilot controlled, a dual gimbal size 3, 4 single mounts with size 3s, a manual turret size 4s, and then the size whatever it is. So 16 size 3 missiles, a size 7 missile rack. Let's not say size 7 missiles, that's the size of the rack, not the ship, not the missiles on it. Yeah, basically a big cutty black. It seems that way. That seems to be what a lot of people are kind of guessing on. Wolf 1916 says, Valk, Asgard and Paladin working together as a landing force multiplier covering and complementing ground assault efforts. None are air cover, but fighter screeners for fighters. You're not wrong. A beefier Black Lair allegedly says Catastrophe. It's an interesting one. Any Paladin paints? I'll have a look in just a second. We keep switching through stuff. I'm going to kill the ones that we've had a look at. Let's kill those. And then come back to this one, I guess. Let's go back to the RW and see what else is available. I did see the CCU Warbond and went, ugh, and then that was it. The Mark II Hornet. So the Mark II's in there with whatever it is now, up to, so $10 off the standard. There's that. Going through everything else then. Let's have a look. There's your upgrade. Ballista, Pisces. I don't think we're going to get... I kind of looked through hoping for another special upgrade offer, but I don't think we're going to get that, right? It's going to be all the normal stuff. Interested that the Lightning's back on sale. The Lightning sales, forgive me, because I've got the one of the tickets, right? In fact, I got a bunch of the tickets, but I'm going to run this through Squadron. That's how I'm getting this, and never considered to buy it. Is this now open for everyone to buy, or do you still have to have a golden ticket? I'd imagine it's open for everyone now, right? This is the same role as the Ironclad Assault. Yeah, it seems to be kind of. Obviously, it lacks the repair, rearm, refuel facility, or the repair facility. I think that is on the Ironclad Assault. There are so many ships now. I'm losing track, guys. But yes, doesn't have that element. It is literally just a transport. And it looks... Just from a size comparison, it's much smaller. It's going to be much more nimble. I would expect you would land this much closer to the front lines than you'd ever land an Ironclad, because the Ironclad's just too big, not maneuverable, not getting out of the way of stuff. You know, you'll kill the Ironclad with Tonks, because it's just going to be so easy to predict where it is and hit it. So yeah. I'm actually a big fan of the Gladiator. I quite like this. There's a couple of ships in here, you know, that it's probably worth talking about. So I'm going to go back to the Arrow, and we'll have a look. There we go. There she is. And we'll go through and have a look. I'm just going to react to chat a little first. So yeah, I both hope and believe neither the MX nor the Asgard will win Best in Show this year. We'll see. I think there are other ships. I'm still frantically hoping that the Terrapin will win at some point. Yes, I have one, but I just think that ship needs some love. Would you recommend the Paladin or the Asgard? Two different roles. What are you doing? If you gunship, Paladin. If you're landing tanks, Asgard. I would say at the moment as simple as that. The Idris will clearly win Best in Show, says Enkasune. Razalinto, hello, buddy. Same role as the Ironclad Assault. Sorry, yes, I did answer that, and yes, it looks that way. It's really hitting the point in the game where each big manufacturer will have a ship for every role. Yeah, it looks like competitors. We were expecting competitors to happen, just possibly not this early in the game. Right? By the game, I mean this early in where they are with all the systems and stuff. But yes, with things like the Golem, the upcoming RSI, Salvager, all that sort of stuff, yes, it looks very much like competitors are going to be a thing. Although, having said that, if the RSI Salvager is going to try and go into the same sort of slot as the Golem, i.e. a sub $100 profession starter ship, I'm all for it. I do not like the idea that if mining or salvage is your thing, your first option is around the $150, $160 mark. That's a very real barrier to entry. Right, especially if you don't want to be a combat pilot, because people go earn up. Yeah, how are you going to do that? Right. So there is that, because people go, yeah, cargo, great. What starter ship is the cargo ship? Do you see what I mean? So you know, if you want to come into a base thing and earn your way up, it's got to be combat, or you know, because they've even got rid of some of the little box missions, you know, the hand box missions that you used to be able to do in the Aurora. And let's face it, most people joining are not choosing the Flying Rectangle as their starting ship, unless they've got some advice off the bat. Used to be an Aegis fan, says Heinrich. I've been converted to Anvil with a Paladin in the Asgard. Nice. AV obviously doesn't like the Idris at all and hates the idea that it's going to get more skins. Sorry, dude. Throwing you under the bus there. Limited respawns. Hey, bud. We need a carrier in game, something like the Liberator. You shut your filthy mouth. How dare you. 950. Polaris versus Idris this year. No doubts. We should push the ICT for best in show, says Socially. Go away. Don't want to talk about it. Aladim 11. 4 size 2 shields is kind of bad, sadly. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously just not... It's not a straight-up combatant, right? It needs to be able to get in and survive and leave. And it's obviously... They've obviously decided that the armor's going to do, you know, a significant amount of that heavy lifting. So... There's that. Sorry, but for now, the Turtle has paints. It's the Gladiator's turn to get pushed by info runners for the paints. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I've got a Gladiator for some reason. I think it's going to got the Perseus, or some reason. Something. I think it's because one of my ships isn't in the Arena Commander. I don't know. There's just a Gladiator in my ASOP terminal for literally no reason. And I'm kind of digging it. I do kind of like the Gladiator. Polaris is still super viable and good looking. I have both. Okay. So, yes. Nice. 315 is the starter cargo. I mean, sorry, the 315. Sorry. For a second, I thought you were talking dollars, and I kind of 404'd. No, you're right. The 315, the Origin 315 is starter. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I'm also more interested in boarding ships now that we have larger caps in game. The Legionnaire, for example. Think it will be Ep4 1.0. Ep4 1.0, 100%. In this year, no, probably not. Because it relies on hacking, right? And the hacking is its whole gameplay loop. Otherwise, it's just another gunship. And a dropship, and a very poor one at that. So, yeah. Retaliator Loner. Yeah, why is it the... Because I got the Retaliator base. Why have I got something with torpedoes when I don't have a ship with torpedoes? No clue. Both Idris and Polaris are 100% viable, says Dark Lord. Sebastian says, if every manufacturer will have competitor ships, imagine how many direct competitors you'll have to your Perseus. Yeah, see, it's going to have to look like a battleship. I don't have a problem with that, but it's going to have to look like a battleship. Because that ship... Oof. I'm so excited for the Perseus. It's going to be great. Hello, Fang Fury Master. Wait, what? Are you talking to someone whose name I can't see? I don't know. Let's go with that. Fang Fury Master? Yes. Asgard is everything I wanted the Valk to be. Oh, Veerblade. Okay, cool. So, hopefully, as long as you don't have kind of crazy CCU Valk action going on, hopefully, that's an easy swap for you. I'm pleased for you, my friend. Perfect for bunker missions. You are not wrong. Everything in front of you is going to die. Especially when you're attacking ground stuff. Perseus beam variant. Oh, God. That would just be nasty. Yes. So, going through that, I do like a lot of Anvil's lineup. We've talked about the Asgard. Yeah, the ground vehicles, hey, they're ground vehicles. They are situational use. They're going to come more into it with base gameplay. The one thing I will say is that some of these have a horrifically low detection range. So we found like a fully powered Dragonfly, you've got to be within like 400 meters of it switched on to detect it in a ship. So when you've got people kind of sat at a ground facility like the upcoming ones, like the Hathor ones, using those vehicles to get in and out undetected, really, really viable. Just a little bit of a walk, park yourself somewhere not immediately obvious from the facility or from the sky, and then trek the rest of the way in. It's tab, we call it in the UK military. Yeah, it's not a bad way to go. And of course, these sorts of things as air defenses for bases or anything you're trying to defend on the ground, people are going to have much less warning than they will with if you're defending it from the air. Really like the C8R. I'm a massive fan. It does mean that at the moment I've got the C8R and the Terrapin Medic, and I've also got a CCU chain up to the Apollo Medivac. So I've gone really hard into medical gameplay, despite really not enjoying the gameplay that much at all. But the C8R was my bunker ship. It's now the Terrapin. Clearly, I'm going to have to figure out which ones I want and which ones I don't. But I like the idea of shuttles in the game. I think they're still going to be useful. I think the more times you do atmospheric re-entry, probably the more you'll have to pay in kind of maintenance and repair, the more stress it'll put on the ship and its components. I don't think shuttles are going to suffer that same penalty. That's the whole point in having shuttles. All of a sudden, things like the MPUV personnel and the MPUV cargo for small runs, all of a sudden they make sense when you look at the cost of everything else. So that's where I think that's going to go. No Anvil concept this year. Doesn't look like it. Everyone was, I know people were kind of hoping for maybe an Anvil capital ship. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. Same with the Carrick. What more can you say about that one? Centurion, we've kind of talked about. Crucible, I find really interesting because it doesn't look like your typical Anvil ship because of its age. The Anvil design language has progressed significantly. The Crucible has not. Also, given what it's supposed to be able to do, the fact that it is a heavy repair ship, I think if you can even throw a $5, from the Starfarer Gemini up to this thing, I think it's worth it because I think this is going to have the same as the hulls, right? I think it's going to go up massively in price when we finally get it, so definitely worth it. Commander Maskimi, hopefully I got that right. If I didn't, I apologise, but welcome in. I've seen a couple of your comments, but yeah, thank you very much. Crucible, it's going to have a huge rework, and of course its popularity, it may well go up when it gets a rework as well. So especially if you've got credit kicking around, the worst that happens is you melt it. Right, you melt the CCU and you don't want it, but it could be one of those things that that you end up, even if you don't want the ship, you can ride the price increase to something else. F7 Hornet has been talked about to death. It's always the talk of all the fighters and stuff. When new fighters come in, I feel like this has been theory crafted and looked at to death. $10 off on the CCU War Bond offer, which will end tomorrow. So you've got 24 hours to secure yourself that if you want it. Good looking ship, iconic. I'd love the Hornet commercial. The Hornet commercial, I think, was the first thing I saw about Star Citizen. I found the Hornet commercial. Maybe we'll watch that a little bit later for some nostalgia. But oh my god, I saw that and I was hooked. That was what got me into Star Citizen. Grab vehicle with a 1K walk-in and no one knows you're scoping them, says Volf. Yep. We have our sniper in chat, but yes, 100%. They reduced the crew lockers from 6 to 2 on the Asgard, even though the places are there for the other 4 lockers. Yeah, because there's only 2 crew. So, it looks like why they've gone that way. Super Hornet is here. Great, if that's your thing. Hornet Tracker Mark II. I really like these. I think these are going to come into their own. Once they've nailed down what scanning actually is, and how it's going to work, and a little bit of the kind of fleet control, that's the whole point of the tracker. I think that's going to come into its own. It's a reconnaissance vessel with more punch than your average bear. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Super Hornet Mark II or F7A Mark II. Gunther, do you know what? It's horses for courses, mate. Between those two, I would go with whichever one you want. I mean, for me, just because it's a fighter, the price there tells me everything I need to know, right? But that's me monetarily rather than in-game. Mate, get yourself down to the expo hall, rent both, do 24, or even better, rent one now, do today and most of tomorrow with it, and then rent the other one just before the end of it. You'll get 48 hours with each. I think it's 48 hours from when you rent it. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Just fly it. Just fly it and see for yourself. Because even when people say, this is the interesting thing with Star Citizen ships, even when people tell you what the meta ship is, some people will just find one that suits them better than the other, and it might not be the meta choice. So I would absolutely go for that. Yeah, I mean, the F7A is rare from that point of view. You might want to keep that just for because it's something that not a lot of people own. You're sorry, Gunther. I think I misunderstood there, my friend. So you're looking at maybe going for the F7A up to the Super Hornet. Is that right? Yeah. I mean, guys in here will be able to advise you. All I would say is whatever you enjoy most. But that's how I game, right? Even if it's not the meta choice, even if you know you're the underdog in certain situations, go with whichever one you fly. That's me. If you're like, no, I just want the meta ship. Frankly, there are creators who are more tuned in to what the fighter meta is at the moment. And they will always be more tuned in than me because that's all they do. I'm not saying you're not welcome here, not by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying I'm not going to be the best person to advise you, and I really don't want to give you bad advice, mate. Especially not when you're talking about a ship like the A that is a pain in the backside to get hold of now. So yeah, please, just be careful with what you do with any. If you can melt stuff and get it back, fill your boots, try it. If it's a ship that you can't get back, just please be incredibly careful. Even if you're getting some really good advice from people who know their stuff, just be careful. The only thing that counts as insane in this game at the moment is assuming anything's going to stay the same. We're not there yet. We got armor, we got maelstrom, all that stuff's going to come in. We still don't know how scanning is going to work. We've still got repair, we've still got components to work, we've still got resource network. So much is going to change. How it is now is not how it's going to be. If you can deal with renting the F7M and keep hold of the A, I would probably do that. But again, got to do what you think, my friend. I think so. I think so. Badger said fighter jock's not welcome. Got it. Thanks, Avi. It's always lovely to see you, mate. Yeah. So the F7A, if you melt it, you can't get it back. Yeah, that. So yes, there's that. Okay, what else we got? We did the tracker, right? Hornet Ghost again. The whole stealth thing is getting better. We seem to be getting there. If stealth is your thing, I know a lot of people say the Firebird is probably one of the best stealths because it just yeets missiles and you never find it. Great. Entirely up to you. Yeah, thanks, Avi. Cheers. I really like the F8. I really like it. However, I know it has problems in game at the moment, and for that price, I'm not owning it in Squadron. That. This thing needs a bit of a visual rework, but not too much. I love the idea of a fighter bomber based very closely on the Hornet, because to me, the military person in me, that speaks to it massively, right? It means that you stock a bunch of components that fit into both your Hornets and your Gladiators, and that makes a lot of sense. The last thing you need is a bunch of different ships that all have different size components. Right? Hey, we got loads of coolers, but they don't fit in that. Right? You don't want that. That's why you have things like the Spartan chassis, or they call it the Atlas platform, don't they? But it gets confusing with the Atlas. So, yeah. But the Spartan, Centurion, Ballista family, it's that idea, the commonality of parts. So you can go, hey, I've just got a bunch of coolers and it fits in everything. So, ta-da! But I like the Gladiator. I think it's quite punchy. It's got a little bit of firepower to it when it wants it. And then the torps are good fun for smaller targets. Small to medium, they're good fun. Why is your Asgard 420 minus 350? So 350 is the ship value, bearing in mind that you have to add tax here in the UK. So tax is 20%. So it's sales. Yeah. Ta-da. Hawk. Used to have one of these. I think they're really cool. Nothing more fun than putting your friend in the pod and then not letting them out. Lol. But yes, EMP on it as well. The fact that it folds in, I really like that. I still hold out hopes of the Blade Runner-esque bounty hunter who lands in the street. Because it really does fold up compact. It's really cool. But like that, yeah, it's a bit rough. The only part I don't like is how the wingtips look chonky. Yes, they do. You're right. Hurricane, I had lots of fun flying this with Execute during Xeno Threat. He just called out targets. I just held the trigger down and watched stuff die. He was using distortions as his pilot control weapons to start affecting ships, and then I would just burn them down with the turrets, or with the turret. So that was good fun. Lots of fun with that. Legionnaire. We know they were working on it last year. It was scheduled to come out We've not had it yet, obviously, because hacking isn't in, and hacking just gets keeping kicked and kicked and kicked. There is something about these door scanners. They said during the Con 42, there are going to be door scanners that will stop you coming in if you don't look like a bad guy. So if you're not wearing Ninetales or whoever it is armor, they won't let you in. They also talked about some other method of going through doors. Could be breaching, could be hacking. So we'll have to see. Yeah. Did you see the new Hawk meta? Lol, seems you could put PDCs on it in place of the guns. Oh god. Well, like Jidome says, hopefully that's fixed, and that's that. Liberator. Yeah, a shipping ship designed to take stuff places. I hate that it's called a carrier, but that's that. Paladin, still top spot of these choices, I think. For the gunship, the Asgard doesn't change that. But yes, this is still a punchy bit of kit with that turret. Spartan, great as a transport. And the Terrapin and the Terrapin Medic, I really like these. I think when I do the build my fleet things, I use the Terrapin a lot because of the reconnaissance element of it. I really like that. And the Terrapin Medic, for me, is the kind of combat search and rescue ship. With the fact that Terrapin's very heavily armoured, this also seems to be, similar sort of armour. So the idea is it comes in, it lands, it gets someone out, and off it goes again. I kind of like that. Valkyrie. Yeah, I still think there's going to be a video between the Valkyrie and all the other dropships, the Asgard included. Because now there is so much choice. It's probably going to have to talk, especially when you start factoring in the kind of fringe cases like the Prowler and everything else. There's some really interesting stuff with these dropships. The Valkyrie, I don't think it's good. The Valkyrie is clearly not everyone's dropship, right? It's org level ops. It's lots of people. It's putting lots of people on the ground. When you're talking UE Pathfinders or the Sigma Walkers or whoever, right? You're talking about putting a lot of people in one dropship. So one ship, one chance to get detected. You come in with it and you put a lot of people on the ground. That makes sense to me. Yes, it's a case of all your eggs in one basket, but then maybe you'll be able to defend that. Again, it's horses for courses to see, how that works. Yeah. Lots of interesting stuff. I'm going to go back to the Asgard because I don't think I've finished scrolling down through it all. So yeah, I have a suspicion that the Valk will get upgunned again. Possibly. This is the bit that I find really misleading, right? Why have we, if the Asgard loses the troop component, why have we got troops running down the ramps? Can't, CIG. You even said it in your video. It loses the troop component. So why do you picture them running down the ramps? It's the same with the Liberator, right? The Liberator's got a lot of stuff, dropping and firing as it's booting tonks off the front. If you're taking the Liberator into combat, you are doing it wrong, sir. So that. Yeah, it's a cargo ship. Everything's a cargo ship if it can fit cargo. Or something. Yeah. Good looking ship. Special Insurance Officer. That's Alpha. That's the bit that I didn't look at. You got the packs with the Tonk. Tasty. Like the look of it. It's a lot of money, right? And for me, all the ground vehicles are the sort of things that you can earn in-game relatively easily. They don't necessarily need to be purchased. But then again, if that's going to be your gameplay loop, if you've come to Star Citizen and you want to be the ground assault element for your org and you want to be a pro tank crew and smashing everyone else because it's all you do and you're exceptionally good at it, absolutely, own the Tonk. But for me, not so much. Don't like the top engine, says Astro, messes up the aesthetics. I don't think it does it that much. I don't think it does it a disservice. I really don't. I don't mind the aesthetic of this thing at all. So yeah, live cargo, says Chavez. Yeah, just strap them to the deck. They'll be fine. And then the Asgard Valhalla paint. Very nice. Yeah. I actually quite like that. I don't have a problem with it at all. So yes, absolutely that. Red, the CCU, there will be, on the finale days, we think there will be a bunch of CCUs that we haven't yet seen throughout the event. So a bunch of new CCUs not yet seen. So if you've missed yours and you're like, damn, I wish that had got a CCU, there is still hope. Don't know what they'll be, but they will be there as well. Yeah. The Fatless. Oh God, Dark, don't start doing stuff like that, because people will repeat it, and it's like, you know, like, what was it? The Ironclad is now the Faterpillar. Just stop. Just stop it. You know, I feel personally attacked by half of this stuff. So yeah, the engines look goofy as hell. I wish it was built from the ground up, not a battle variant. I don't know. I actually quite like it. When you say it makes it look goofy, have you seen an Osprey? Yeah, as far as goofy goes, that's about as goofy as you can get. I forget what its designation number is now, but the Osprey is just the goofiest looking thing in the whole world. It looks Chad, but that's what it does. Fun fact: that's what the carriers were built to have on deck, was the Ospreys, because when the engine goes off on the US carriers, they have to turn them off because the exhaust heats the deck up and damages all the work. The decks on UK carriers are heat treated so the Ospreys can keep their engines running. Completely useless fact that you needed absolutely no information for, but you've got it now. So there. Ta-da! See, useless military facts thrown in just for you. Don't charge extra. Yeah, I want to call this the Cuddy White with that paint job. I do kind of like the white paint job. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, we've definitely identified that it's Cutlass. The hips don't lie for the... I'm not saying that on stream, but thank you, Hellwinter. Yeah, the V22, that's the one, the Osprey. It's just... Easty. Hello, bud. Oh, currently deployed with crappy intro. Easty. The good news is there are other waves. Hopefully you're aware. There are other waves, and I do hope you get one. You know, I don't know if there's anyone at home that you can get them, but while you're deployed, it's going to be a rush, my friend, especially with it being out. But I really hope. I tell you what I would do. Easty, if you're concierge, reach out to them. Reach out to them, tell them where you are. Yeah, I would probably include a selfie of wherever you are. Even if it's not an active war zone, if you're just like, hey, I'm doing whatever and wherever, reach out to them. The worst that they can do is say no, but you'd kind of hope for a fleet week they would make an exception for someone who's doing their level best to get it, and you're deployed somewhere. Give them a call, or you know, put a ticket in, and just say, look, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm really struggling. Can you help? Worst they can do is say no, right? So yeah, do you remember the dropship from the Final Fantasy VII movie, Spirits Within? Artemis, I'm really glad you brought that up, because, oh my god, that is the sexiest ship in the world. It's kind of like the, I think they call it, is it the Copperhead? Yeah, hey, found it, just clicked on it. That is a good looking ship. I like that a lot. But yeah, where is it? That thing. It is basically the Prowler, right? Down to the wings and the tail and the side doors. But that doesn't mean it's not cool. So yeah. The only thing obviously they had in that was what they didn't do was they didn't have all the seats in the centre facing out. But then you couldn't have had all the cool conversations in there and all the accusations of people being bad and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. But yes, that's a very cool ship as well. T14 Lone Star. I really like the look of the Asgard. I'm also a fan of ships that can double as a cargo runner. Yeah, absolutely. Just, you know, as they said, bit of a wider caution. The top level's a bit fiddly to get in and out, so you're probably going to take it out in vertical slices rather than layer by layer. But you might already do cargo like that, in which case you're like, this is standard. But yeah. John Chavez, the engines on the wings would work if they also put the forward engines on wings. Having only one back pair of wings is off, although it's uninterrupted airflow. so that kind of makes sense to me. But then again, you know, I was never a pilot, so maybe I'm talking arse. On a side note, now I want to see an Azor MTC Police Interceptor. Oh my god, can you imagine the Dog the Bounty Hunter limited edition skin for the MTC? The Bounty Hunter. Right, I'll stop singing now. Yeah. Yes, Sasha, we watched it. You are late to the party, sir. How very dare you? Take yourself around the back, have a good word with yourself, and then come back in and apologise to the rest of the class. Artemis, well, that's what I was going for now, thinking of an Asperia heavy gunship. Yeah, I mean, that it is the Prowler. It is the flying prawn. They are the same thing, basically. Someone went, I want that in Star Citizen, and they went, okay, and now we have it. Yeah, just the cockpit looks slightly different, but then again, they had to go with the whole Asperia thing, and yes. So yeah, an interesting ship. I'm gonna figure out whether or not I want one. I think I would have it more for the aesthetics than anything else. My dropship of choice is still going to be the Prowler, I think. But again, that for me is an earning game. So we'll see. An interesting ship. Just before we go on to the next little bit, so I just will warn you guys. Sunday, obviously, I was switching over to Drake. I will not be around at 16:45 on Sunday. I'm going to the Bovington Tank Museum with a friend, and then we are going to go and play a game of Adeptus Titanicus from Warhammer. So I won't be around for the initial parts of that. At least I will be streaming 9 p.m. UK time as normal. So that'll be exciting, but yeah, really sorry. Hellwinter says, "Take me with you." I'm actually going to have a look at what their rules are on recording, because a lot of people don't like to do it. Hey, Stack. Oh, Stack's here. We got to leave. Stack's here. It's over. Like, just call it. That's it. It's done. It's over. Sorry, Stack. But yeah, so yes, I'm going to go do that, and then we're going to play a game at Adeptus Titanicus at the Entoyment Gaming Centre in Poole. I probably shouldn't be telling people this, but that's that. But yes, so Sunday I will be on at 9 p.m. as normal, not at 16:45 for the changeover. But you know, bit of a shame, but you know, real world stuff calls. Hey, Sloth, can never go wrong with a Prowler. Still like putting Pico plushies at all the jump seats. Nice, the Pico Prowler. Yeah. It just sounds a little bit weird, because I like have the windows open a lot of the time. You have people walking past, and they can just hear this guy in his room going, "Yeah, I really want to pick up a Prowler. Like, I love Prowlers. They're great." They're like, what the fuck is going on in there? And that's me demonetized. Would you say the Raft and Paladin are a good combo? What are you doing with a Raft and a Paladin? Good lord. What? I guess the Paladin is playing escort for the Raft? Question mark. Don't know. I just had an image of Garmin Humble driving an MTC running over that. Yeah, that's awful. Pico Prowler sounds like we've really got on. We've gone off piste massively. We are in uncharted territory. This is dangerous. Cargo and combat. I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, probably one after the other, not at the same time. But yeah, I mean, if your cargo and combat gameplay is code for I'm going to blow other people up and take their stuff, then sure, why not? Having the stuff on the, all joking aside, having the stuff on the outside does make it quicker to get stuff attached to your ship and then get the hell out of there before their friends turn up. Just saying. Volv says, reminds me to get started on my Maniple and Side Titan. Nice. Haven't got a Side Titan yet. I've got the starter box plus some Porphyrion. And I'm going to pick up a Warlord. Probably in Tournament on Sunday. But I just want the... I want the one was the Plasma Annihilators. Sorry, guys. Everyone else is like, what are they talking about? If you're not a Warhammer nerd, you don't know. So there. If you know, you know. Like, I feel like I'm straying into the realms of dad jokes. Which makes sense, given my age. But, ta-da. Yeah. So, interesting ship, the Asgard. It will be interesting to see how many people take over it. I think a lot of people will straight up look at the Asgard and go, lots of forward-facing guns, big missiles, lower crew compartment, and it will just be a straight-up conversion for the Valk, right? They'll go, this makes more sense, it's more accessible for me. I can still put a load of people in and they just lie down in the back. So it lands, they all stand up and they all run off, and people are like, how are they getting, like, why are there so many people running off? Oh my god, they just keep coming as all these people stand up and run off the back of the Asgard. But yeah, it's an interesting dropship for sure. For others, they'll be like, no, I have specific uses for my Valkyrie in mind, and the Asgard does not fit that bill whatsoever, and that's cool too. I think the nice thing here is, universally, people were expecting this. Yeah, running to the O2. Yeah, everyone just oxy-penning themselves every couple of seconds. I think the interesting thing with this was the price. That's what stuck me. So if you're just joining, that is not the price. That is the price with UK sales tax. It is $350 without the. Why don't I go to the war bond bit, because that makes a lot more sense, right? Now it looks like the actual prices without the stupid sales tax on top. Wonder if the Tonk could shoot out the back of the Asgard, or if its shields would block it. AV, there is only one way to find out. And I feel like that absolutely should be your mission right now. Go find out. Yeah, we'll all wait here. Come back and report your findings to the class. Yeah. So that. I would probably... I don't know if it would block it. But then again, the question is, what happens if it explodes internal and it explodes on the shields go on the way out? That could be a little bit dramatic and or catastrophic. But yeah, Asgard, interesting. This is the bit that I find interesting with this, is that I think universally I saw people saying that it was going to be more than the Valkyrie. And it hasn't. So yeah. Wait, what's the better, the AC-130? Oh, you mean with the tank sticking out the back? No, because it's either shooting behind it. I guess the turret might be able to see behind it. But with poor depression on the Tonk, you're going to have to be pointed up, which means the back's going to get in the way of the turret when it's facing out. So I don't think it is. I think, sir, you are talking nonsense. Also, with two size 5s on the side, all right, they might not be ballistic cannons unless you change it out. But yeah. But if you're looking out the back, and the chin turret is also trying to fire at the same target, they can't fire at the same target because the hull will be in the way. Because the Tonk's got not great depression, right? Is anyone? Am I talking? Am I nuts? Am I seeing this wrong? Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe just put it on an angle, and then like do that, and then maybe, I don't know. But yeah. Oh, Tonk does have AOE. You're right. Yeah. I guess it depends whether you put ballistics on the sides. You aren't wrong, but nuts. Socially, never a truer word was spoken. Correct, but mental is where I like to be. That's my level. Inkitsune says, I will definitely not be bringing the Asgard into any tough fight. The guns will use purely for self-defense. Yeah, absolutely. Suppression, kind of runs to get people's heads down. That sort of really cool, almost an A10 vibe of, we're pinned down and just getting people to put their heads down would be great for the Asgard. I really like that. Darktide says, I mounted my Valk for the Asgard. I play with a very small group, so we'll never use all the drop seats. I put a Nurser and some bikes in for a bunker runner that can tank some hits if needed and do cargo. I like that a lot. Because what'll be interesting is I think you'll probably, although I don't know, can you fit a C8R in the back? I suppose you don't need to if you've got the Nurser, right? And the Nurser will take less space. So yeah, forget that. But yeah, nice. Two different questions. First answer, yes, you're nuts, but not related. Thanks, Stack. This is why I normally go offline the minute you come on, right? Because you just abuse me. I cry into a pillow. You know, you're a bad human being. How into the CR is about the size of an house. It's bigger. It's the wings. Even though the little end bits fold up, it's not. I shouldn't do that because it looks a bit like. Nobody clip it. I've just seen how cheap the Asgard is. I'm melting the tack now. Interesting, Madworld. Yeah, just bear in mind that a lot of that is forward-facing firepower. We did have a chat about it earlier. It's probably worth watching that back. But not saying you're wrong, just saying that there's other consideration. 180 SCU is nice, says Fishhead. Yeah, you can get much more for less. If you know, you can get 4 SCU less for just over half the price if you take a Taurus. Just saying. And the Taurus has got tractor beams. Ta-da! Didn't they show the MISC Racer in there? I don't think they did. Did they? Where? What, in the video? Actually priced good compared to the Valkyrie. Yeah, Manny, we were just saying that, actually, that it was the one bit that did surprise me was where they priced this. Especially given what they did with the Idris and how much that increased. This is actually not a bad little place. Did they? The Raft has more SCU. Then the Raft sounds like a good choice. Have they over doubled the Raft's SCU? Can't have, surely. I thought it was three of the 32 SCU containers. No, wrong, Connie. Taurus. Taurus is 176 SCU, I thought. It's a lot. 192 now. Oh, what, for the Raft? Yeah, that is more than 100%. The ramp is better than the Connie's tray thing it has. Possibly. But then again, you've got the issue with the cargo at the top, loading and unloading, and no tractor beam turret, whereas the Connie does. So, you know. 6 times 32. Yeah, doubled it. Nice. Oh, it is 96. Sorry, you're right. Oh my god. My brain. It's been a long day, guys, already. I've come from work straight into this. On a warm day. You are entirely right. You are entirely right, Asher. Yeah, my brain. Yeah. So 96 up to 192. Holy moly. Mento. You have to lift boxes into that other compartment in the Taurus, which isn't viable. You do, but, you know, I mean, is it not viable or is it just a pain in the ass? Because if it's a pain in the ass we're talking about, then, again, top level on the Asgard. Raft can't take vehicles. The Taurus cargo elevator limit how many luggage containers you can fit. The Asgard is surprising. Yeah, absolutely. I just think for 350, that's not a lot of cargo for a $350 ship. There's a lot of cargo for $350 military ship, but not a lot of cargo for $350. The problem with the Raft is that it can't do anything other than just carry the cargo. It's still really just a short distance transport. Other ships that can carry vehicles have a lot more utility. Not wrong. Yeah, and if you're talking about the different things that it can do, absolutely. In terms of choice, the Asgard's looking really good. I worked a 1 to 9 shift. 1 a.m. to 9 p.m.? What? That's illegal. Do you mean 1 a.m. to 9 a.m.? Madbod? Because if not, we need to have a talk about, like, modern day slavery and stuff, because that's bad. 9 a.m. I was like, whew, yeah, that's better. Still not great, but better. Yeah, absolutely. Melt F8C to Asgard. No. 2 different roles. 2 different roles. I mean, at the moment where the F8C is, it probably, seasons turn faster than it does. But we're not expecting it to stay that way. Because why would it? Right? Fighters, like we said, the problem with the Asgard is if you get up above and behind it, most fighters will outshoot it. or sorry, most fighters will outturn it, and it will just sit there and it will struggle. So be careful. Yeah. The Asgard is going to be a great geocarrier. Oh God. Ah, you're all heathens. The C2 CCU was 370 yesterday. I was hoping the Asgard would be cheaper. The Asgard is cheaper. Oh, you mean in terms of with sales tax? It's only 350 in value, so it is cheaper. What have I missed there, Manny? Star Lancer Max 224 cargo, cheaper than the Asgard. That F8A will be out, i.e. calling it now, so melt away. Yeah, possibly. I've done some long shift in emergency services. Yeah, mate. I bet. 100%. Star Lancer is good value. Agreed. The Asgard handles pretty good, but the game doesn't add the internal mass of cargo or ships at the moment. Yeah, doesn't it just act like they're full? So it'll probably go better. Can a golem fit in the Asgard? I don't believe it can, but I don't know. I haven't tried yet because I've been here talking to you guys. Mold to Asgard because I have an Arastra. That's a very different role, right? The other thing is, so I'm just going to bang on this very quickly. One of the pieces of advice I keep hearing, and it's bad, I think, is this whole just get the biggest ships you can, right? I don't think it's going to work like that. I think having lower, smaller crew requirement ships will be required to fill that stuff in, right? Ships like, if you're going to go for the Orion, for mining example, just going to the Orion is a bad idea. There are going to be high running costs, fuel and everything else, and a long old time before that thing pays out, right? It's going to be like the Reclaimer. The Vulture, you can do multiple small runs before you complete one full run in a Reclaimer. It's going to be the same with ships. Yes, the buy big and earn down thing will work in certain circumstances, but not all of them. And there is going to be a huge amount of money that is going to be, there's going to be required to keep those things running. Also, it's not all going to be profit. Taking those ships out, working the components, doing all that sort of stuff when repair and maintenance comes in, it's not all going to be clear profit. And we don't all have the time to dedicate the 10, 15 hours to take that out and make it worth its while. So I wouldn't always be, it doesn't necessarily need to be that, but I wouldn't always necessarily just go the biggest ship you can. Smaller ships to allow you to earn money in a 1 or 2 hour play session are still going to be very, very useful. Asgard is only 3 meters longer than the Zeus. Interesting? Yes. It is a compact ship for what it does. Get a ship you can reliably crew, 100%. Yeah, I'm with you, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Would love to see it. Pipe dream for the A, 100%. Biggest pain point for ships like the TAC is what? Sorry. For ships you can reliably crew. Yes. The number of people you play is going to play a huge role. It's going to play a huge role in decisions like this. 100%. Hey, Mace, welcome in, my friend. So a golem plus a cargo ship works well, even with the container swapping. Absolutely. If that's 2 people, that's great. If you can kind of work that out between you, that works really well. Have fun trying to not be in the red during the junior cargo missions as all you have as a hull E. That. I'm perfectly happy with my little cutter, says Sebastian. Absolutely. The MTC and the Ursa plus the Atlas can fit in the Asgard, it's looking like, at the same time. You mean the Atlas as in the suits, not the Atlas as in the Atlas platform, Spartan, Centurion, Ballista. I'm assuming from that. But yes. Yeah, it can fit an awful lot, and we saw in the video there were 4 vehicles in there. It can fit a lot. So yeah, it's an interesting ship. Larger ship should be one you can comfortably, casually solo. I'm not going to go that far and say that people shouldn't earn that. I'm just saying that it probably shouldn't be all they own is the huge ships, right? If someone's turning around and go like, okay, I've got a fleet of manageable ships and I want to melt them all for the Idris, it'll be like, Probably not. That's rough, right? So it's being careful with stuff like that. I've got a full range of ships, and my favourite is the C1. Small, easy, fast, and good cargo. Yeah. Exactly that. And I think that, you know, that's the bit that I'm identifying with my fleet at the moment, is, like I said, C8R, Terrapin Medic, CCU up to the Apollo Medevac, and the chain is complete. I got to be careful, because that's a lot of ships, and you can't fly them all at once, right? So, you know, medical gameplay. It depends what... I think, for me, it's going to depend what that morphs into. I'm in no rush to go and melt ships and get other stuff. It doesn't bother me like that. So we'll see. We'll see what medical gameplay looks like. It might be that I end up just with something like the medic for the tier 2 and everything else. It might be that I really enjoy it and then want to go to the medevac and do, you know, kind of extracting ejected pilots and stuff like that. We'll see. I can't say that name because I don't read whatever that is. Mandarin? Sorry. So, hi. Hey, I want to make a big ship to solo. Now it's time. I want to carry the golem, mine or cargo or a fighter, etc. C2 or the Carrack. Which one would work best? So I would wait. And I know this is not the question, the answer that you want to hear. I would wait until resource networks come in, because that is going to tell us how, and they come across the ships that you're looking at, so they're in those, because that's going to tell us how easy it is to solo ships and what the sort of biggest ship you can reliably solo is. It also depends on what you're doing with it, right? Is Golem won't fit in a Carrack, says Del, so there's that. Asgard can carry the golem, says Artemis. That's interesting. I didn't think it was that big. Buy it in game, and if you can't live without it, consult your wallet and sanity, says Stack. You're not wrong. Yeah, I would just be careful. Just be careful what it is you're after. Because, like I said, the only insane thing you can do in this game at the moment is assume things are going to stay the same. So be careful, especially when you talk about big ships and the amount of money that is. So just be a little bit careful. You know, the first thing is get hold of other people's stuff and see if what you want actually fits. Be really, really careful. No, it can carry the the Atlas size vehicles as well, Valk. It's the golem that we're talking about. So the golem is the mining thing. The Drake miner. So yeah, no, it can carry the Atlas. If it can carry the Tonk, it can carry the Atlas. The Centurion Ballista Spartan series. 100%. Awesome. Katakana. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, if you want to, if you're happy melting stuff and it doesn't bother you monetarily, then by all means, go nuts. But yeah, absolutely. Figure that out. You know, the other thing that might be good for that, depending on whether or not you can fit in, is the Ironclad. The Ironclad might be another fit that you want to look at. But we'll see. Yeah, Fishhead and I came to the same thing. Dave Wilson, Asgard is possibly what is the best buy of Invictus. Will sell like nuts at a squirrel convention. Yeah, interesting. We'll see tomorrow. I mean, we haven't had an hour yet. Oh no, we have had an hour. I wonder. Let's have a look at the hourly, see what it says. That'll be fun, right? Let's have a look at the hourly and see what they've said. Think I'm tapped out till IAE, says Omnipresence. Has it been a rough one already, mate? Wow. Wow. Oh my god, they almost made $1 million in an hour. Holy shit. Oh my god. That is rough. I'm just going to give this a go. Where's my calculator? Here we are. So 893 whatever it is 0.086 divided by, what do we say it was? 350, right? 350 normal, so 420 with the tax. Not everyone pays tax, so let's split the difference, right? Let's say 385, and then that allows for war bond and everything else. So divided by 385, how many Asgards did they have to sell for that? They sold, if it was all Asgards, they sold over 2,000 Asgards in an hour. Holy. Yeah, well, the Idris was included as well. Yeah, you're right. But so tax is a governmental thing. So it depends. Some countries don't have value-added tax. So that's what I'm trying to account for. Or some people did CCUs, so didn't, or melt, so wouldn't have paid any tax. It would just gone straight across. But yeah. Paid $30 in a CCU from the MX, which I didn't like, says Ashra. Nice. In all expectation of upcoming ground operations. Looking at good ship for a solo. Nice. Store credit has no tax. Yeah, but I guess it's also not included in the money, right? So that didn't make sense. But still, even if you balance it out for war bond versus non-war bond. That's... Yeah. Yes, they would have sold Idris's, which is going to put a dent in that, I would think. But still, $1 mil an hour. Almost. Holy cow. Deployed military stations also don't pay taxes. Yeah, because you're in another country. Although, as we've already had with someone in here, I hope you get it, by the way. If you do get it, that was that. So, Senave 20? Apologies if I got that wrong. Wasn't there an Idris sales? Yes, there was. It's second only to the IAE 2022 Best in Show Day, I think, says MacTan. And that is a crazy amount of money. I wasn't expecting the Asgard to get that much interest. I really wasn't. Sorry, I've been sinking. I've been losing altitude in my chair the whole stream. I'm back with you now. Tax isn't even uniform across the US. Each state sets its own rates. There's that. So yeah. Dave Wilson says, I know you love your Perseus drinkers, and so do I, yet I've melted her for the Asgard. Out. Out you go, sir. Out. Especially with engineering element, the Asgard is so much like the Zeus, very versatile and accessible. Yeah, it's got that. It's still lower than Gacha Games, and CIG spends more time developing a ship than Hoyoverse with a Gacha character. Fair enough. I'm not familiar with Gacha Games, but there's that. I take your word for it, sir. But yeah, interesting. There's been a lot kind of... it's been interesting. Like I say, the bit that I'm still figuring out in my head is the pricing of it. I think universally people were expecting it to be more than the Valk. To come in $25 under is an interesting choice. It's an interesting way to go. But yeah, not a bad decision by any stretch. I'm certainly not saying it's a bad decision. I'm saying it's a good one. But yeah, Asgard looks like a fantastic ship. Biggest thing against it as a daily driver is that the Corsair and Connies have size 3 shields and higher pilot DPS for $100 less. Sonive, I'm really hoping Sonive. I really hope I'm getting that right. If I'm not, I apologise. But yes. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think, of course, the thing is we play in terms of numbers. The key thing here is the Asgard's being sold as something that can shift the Tonk around, or the Atlas platform, or the Storm. So yeah. So naive. I apologise. So naive. I do apologise. I've got it now. I see what you did there. I'm with you. So yeah. I'm with you. $50 under. Yeah, it's it might go up in price as it's a new ship. So Omnipresence, it's gone straight to flyable. So that's it. You go up in price with from the War Bond. Obviously, the War Bond goes, and you can go from concept to flyable will go up in price. I do not believe this will go up in price automatically again, unless they do some sort of price adjustment. Every so often they do them, but that'll be that. Love that cargo bay in the Asgard. Yeah, the church, like they said in the video, didn't it? So yeah, it's that's an interesting. Can you see that graph all right? Yeah, you can. That is a crazy amount of money. We'll have to see what they came out at. I mean, in that hour, they made more than they did yesterday or the day before that. So they've made more in 1 hour than they did on either Wednesday or Thursday. I love beer gaming. Good day. Oh, sorry. God, that one got away from me. Normally I hit mute so you guys don't get subjected to that. I love beer gaming. Loving the name, my friend. Yes, Asgard, my favourite ship. I'm pleased that so many people seem to be enjoying it. That's me. Might as well name yourself Ergul Abel. I know you're gullible. I get it. But yes, nice, Chavez. No, it's all good. Thanks. I love beer. And I do love beer. In fact, I got my Brewdog Elvis juice. I got the can out yesterday and then forgot to clear it away. So it is a grapefruit IPA. So I got to put it back in the fridge. But yes, it's nice. I'm not saying that omnipresence. I'm not saying that at all. I'm worried that the RAF will go up in value whenever CCU chains sitting on it. I got so many CCU chains to apply when I get access to my PC again. First off, sorry you don't have access to your PC. Yeah, it can upset. I mean, if the CCU chain is intact, it still works, right? So no zero value or negative CCUs can be bought. If you have the chain and it's intact now, it will still work. So you'll be good. So yeah, you'll be all right. God bless from the US. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you in. You're more than welcome, of course. Disaronno and Cherry Coke for me, says Artemis. Interesting. I tell you what I did see and I want to try is Kraken are doing a caramel and sea salt rum. And I'm going to get a bottle for my sister because it's her birthday coming up soon. And then I'm going to get a bottle for myself because that sounds delicious. And then you can all watch me drink it and get very drunk on one of our drinking streams. It's just, it's a shame. I thought we were onto something. Matthew suggested that I do a drinking stream where you guys like can get me to do shots and stuff for subs or whatever. Unfortunately, Twitch specifically is against their terms of service. They're like, no, you can't do that. And YouTube is the same thing. So playing a drinking game where you go like we did with CitizenCon, where you play drinking bingo and you take a shot every time they say something, that is fine. The minute money changes hands for it, you're in trouble. So unfortunately, we can't do that. I'll drink with you. Awesome. I'll look forward to it, mate. I'm honestly going to grab one of these Crucible CCUs to let ferment in my closet. Yeah, so I've got a couple like this. So I've got two, I think it's Cutty Reds to Hull Bs, because looking at what happened with the other Hull series, the Hull Bs went mental, right? Or the whole series price has gone up massively, and looking at the sheer amount of cargo you can put on a B versus the price, it's going to jump significantly. So I don't necessarily want them, but I'll ride the price increase. I've also got 1 Starfarer Gemini to Crucible and 2 Starfarer Gemini to Endeavours. 1 because I'm probably going to want one when they come out because they're such a unique ship, and 1 probably again to ride the price increase. And then if I want to go to something else from that, if there are Perseus competitors, as someone said earlier, I can, jump across. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean, certain things like that, and of course, not that necessarily condone this stuff, but because they're not stock limited, it's not an issue. If you buy that CCU with money, right, rather than store credit, you can gift it. So, for example, I bought the Perseus to Polaris CCU, which is about $25, right, when I got it. I bought that with new money. Looking on one of the stores, it's about $114 to buy on the grey market now. And I don't want to go up to the Polaris. I've kind of confirmed that. So if I want to get rid of that, I can give that to someone else because they save money on not buying just a straight up CCU, which will be whatever it is now, $225, and I profit off it. And because they're not hull limited ships, you know, I'm probably breaking all sorts of issues with talking about that sort of stuff, but you know, oh well. It's not like anyone from CIG watches my streams anyway, so do you, CIG? So yeah, Cutlass has gone to Asgard. So you've just gone from Cutlass to big Cutlass. Yes, nice. I love this hobby. Says Omnipresence. Nice. The Gemini is the Swiss Army knife of CCUs. I've got about 10 from it. Yeah, it is. The Gemini sits in a lot of CCU chains. A lot of CCU chains. So it's well worth grabbing a couple. I think I've got 4 that I've got. So a Galaxy to Crucible, 2 Galaxies to Endeavours. I've got a Galaxy to Gemini. And then I've got a Gemini to Galaxy. For no reason other than I was like, I've got the credit. I'll just see what happens. Probably won't use that either. We'll see. An Anvil Concept Perseus competitor needs to drop soon. I don't know if I like that or not. Hey, Tech, good to see you. Yeah, maybe not. I do like the Perseus. Much love, gents and Battle Maiden. See you in the verse. Thank you for the video. Valkyrie, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for coming in. And I shall see you in a bit, my friend. Take it easy. Like I said, Sunday, 9 p.m. So, see you then. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Asgard is a very good-looking ship. It is not hard to see why they sold that much in an hour, alongside the Idris as well, of course. But I'm not convinced that the I'm in the wrong place for this, aren't I? I'm absolutely in the wrong place. Right, I'm gonna move myself from one side to the other, and let's do that. So you can actually see the stats rather than, there we go, ta-da! Rather than me sit over the top of them. But there, and then maybe, just maybe, I can do that as well. There you go. So if you are looking to read, then hopefully that is helping. There we go. So not a bad. Hey, Tech. Yeah, no worries, mate. Does the Gemini warbond often? I think it was the normal Starfarer that warbonded this time. Was that right, or was it the Gemini? I can't remember. Hey, Luna Maria. I'm sorry I'm late to the party. Oh no, you didn't say sorry. Nor that you have to. Sorry, I'm just making sure that I read you out correctly. I'm just gonna go, Luna Maria. I keep putting my foot in my mouth this stream. I got SCU numbers wrong. I got ship values wrong. Like it's gonna be one of those days. I'm gonna go to the shops. I'm gonna get some alcohol. And I'm gonna get drunk. So there. I'm late to the party. I just backtracked to you talking about the Asgard. I love the look of the Valkyrie, but do not buy dropships. So the Asgard is on my radar. Nice. The Asgard is a very good looking ship. I personally don't mind the rear wings. I think they kind of fit the aesthetic. And the amount of space that thing has inside is frankly terrifying. So yeah, I can see why people would go that way. I only have 1 active chain and 2 LTI tokens, says Chavez. Yeah, look, it's for me. It's still the whole CCU game thing is still voodoo, right? I'm understanding a lot more. I'm a lot better than I was, but there are still times when someone points something out and I go, oh yeah, okay, fine. So yeah, there's been a lot of that going on. It was the Gemini. The best time to CCU to it was just before the cat went up in price. Yes. So it was the Gemini. Yes, so the Gemini's gone. I think that was why I didn't pick up another one, because it wasn't immediately obvious what was a good CCU up to it. There's a lot of ships that aren't always available or harder to get hold of now. So I was like, yeah. And of course the Paladin sits there, but the Paladin's going to go up in price. So yeah, we'll see. I have 40 LTI tokens from back when you could buy LTI with credit, and I bought a load of them. X1s. Okay. Yeah, I've got a few, and I've got a few in buybacks. I think my current LTI tokens that I don't mind losing at the moment are the Atlas and the Pulse. Jesus. My brain is not working. Clearly, I need to go have food, alcohol, or both, and sort myself out, because I am really struggling at the moment. Mark G, I grabbed a mole to Asgard, which was only $10. Going to bring my Zeus up to the Asgard. Nice. Nice. And of course, the nice thing here is if you're CCUing, you can always sit on them until the last couple of days, because there'll be more CCUs. So you might be able to complete more links in that chain and get up to the Asgard. It is a good looking ship. The more I talk about it, the more I like it. But yeah. I want what the Paladin is to the Valk, but from the Legionnaire. Small gunship, not a fighter with VTOLs. Yeah, I mean the Legionnaire is just not a dropship, right? It's a boarding vessel. So I don't know how likely that is. Being able to fit any ground vehicle in it as well as smaller ships, heck, you can probably fit a Fury in it. I'd imagine you'd fit a couple. I imagine you fit a few. I mean, it fits 4 kind of Cyclone-sized vehicles. It fits a Tonk. You'll fit a couple, I would imagine. 2 Fury, says Volf. I'm sure there are, someone like Foxy Loxy or whatever else, they will absolutely be there ramming everything they can fit into the back of those. That sentence came out wrong, but you know what I mean, right? They'll be seeing whatever they can fit, Your chance to fit a vessel into another vessel increases the amount of speed you approach at. You might lose some bits on entry, but it does increase your chances of making stuff fit. So yeah, I'm not saying that out loud, Madwad. I'm not. You're a bad human being. Stop it. Yes. So yeah, really interesting ship. Asgard looks great. And I'm sure on Sunday we'll talk a lot more about it, because I'll be really interested to hear Asgard owners what you've got up to with this thing, and what kind of really interesting stuff that you've managed to do. I'll tell you the one thing that is interesting here, and I don't know if I'm reading this wrong. Those door guns don't seem to be listed. At all. It said it keeps the doors and the door guns, right? They don't seem to be listed in this, even a little bit. There's a close up of the Asgard's backside if you wanted it. But yeah, good looking ship. I do think it is a good looking ship. I think if anything, what spoils it is potentially the 2 thrusters on the back end. I would prefer just the wing ones. I think that makes it look a lot better. But yeah. Door guns are size 1. Yeah, I found it interesting, Mark, that they weren't listed. That they're not in that at all, despite the fact it does have them. So as long as you're au fait flying around with the door open. Badgers, my thing is having my Aliens franchise influence replica collection. I have the Reclaimer and Atlas, and now this Asgard will be my UD-14KN dropship. Nice. I'm with you 100%. Absolutely. Nice looking collection. Now here's hoping you can find the skins to make all of that work. I know it's there for the Atlas, right? So yeah, for everything else, all you need now is the ground vehicle. Because nothing at the moment looks like that ground vehicle, but I'm sure we'll get something. So yeah. Question, would a refueling ground vehicle be able to refuel ships so the Asgard can become a refueler too? I don't see why not. There's tankers that refuel ships, right? I don't see why it wouldn't. I think only forward firing arc is a pretty huge downgrade from the Valkyrie. Yes, and naturally, right, is that it's people talk in terms of upgrades and downgrades because that's how we're used to things in games, right? Things are either better or worse than something else. This is different things for different purposes. So yeah, the Valkyrie is designed to provide fire support and do other things at the same time. It's got the crew to be able to do that, whereas the Asgard, less crew, a lot of firepower forward facing, but as we've said, reduces the pilot's situational awareness, makes it far easier to get in and attack as another ship. So yeah, Pick of the Valkyrie fueling from the Starfarer, and 9 months later, Pick of Fury coming out of an Asgard. Standard. No worries. I'm pleased. Yeah, Luna Maria, normally I'm slow on the uptake, but I'm pleased I got this one first time round. Huzzah for me. I found it interesting that they highlighted that there's 2-person pilot and gunner engineer, and since they're focusing on ground missions, this may be a lot better. Yeah, so again, it's going to be dependent on size, what you have available, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be an interesting one. But again, it's difference of purpose rather than straight up competitors. If you need to land, if you've got a big org and you need to land a lot of people, the Asgard is not suitable. Or if you do, you're going to hurt a lot of people in the back with like all the force reactions and stuff. Whereas being able to land a large troop element safely with, you know, subsequent kind of circling gunfire support and the vehicles to back them up, that, you know, and then you think about the Atlas ICT thing that's coming, being able to fit them in around the vehicles as well. It's, you know, the Valkyrie still has its place. I'm telling you, the Asgard is really nice. Don't disagree. Don't disagree at all. I'm going to head back to the Expo Hall and I'm going to take another look at it. And I'm going to take a longer look at it, I think, this time round. I think this might be one of the ships that maybe I'd get a Warbond CCU to, just because. I might pick up or I might just pick up the $5 from a Gemini. Haven't decided yet. We'll see. Awesome. Good stuff. So that's our look at the Asgard. We had a look at what's coming next month. Next patch with 4.2. More sandbox activities, an energy shotgun, radiation areas, and the suits to deal with it. We had a look at the Idris sales. If you are Idris, I believe it can stack, yeah. I believe the Asgard can be rented. More Idris sales, go check the website. In fact, I'll tell you what I will do whilst I'm here, is if anyone is looking for an Idris, just to try and help you guys out, I'm going to open up the Spectrum post, and I will link that to you guys, just in case you're after it. I know someone here was deployed and trying to get hold of it. I'm sure you've got it anyway, but, you know, when you've got a really poor internet connection, having the direct link will help you. So there it is. There's your connection. There's your link for the new Idris waves. I really hope, whoever it was, I apologise, I forgot your name. I think it's Easty, I think. Mate, I really hope you get it. Please, please, please reach out to Concierge, tell them the situation you're in. Or, you know, if you're not Concierge, just raise a service ticket. Please reach out to them. Please tell them what the situation you're in. The worst they can do is say no. But I hope you get it, my friend. And stay safe wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Yeah. Really interesting look at the Idris. The Idris is an interesting ship. I'm sure we will talk more about it on Sunday at 9 p.m. When we stream again. I will not be here at 16:45. I'm going to the Bovington Tank Museum. So I probably won't be back in time. So we'll go live at 9 p.m. as normal on Sunday. Looking forward to seeing you guys then. I believe it can be, yeah. All of the new ships have been, because I rented the MX. So I believe they can be rented straight up and you can be good to go. So yeah, it'll be good to see. I'm certainly heading there right now. But as we said, link to the Discord down in the description below. Play games on the Discord 9 p.m. UK time every Friday, and stream 9 p.m. every Sunday. Just rented it, says Stack. There we go. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for coming in, Luna Maria. Thank you, Manny, Del, Stack, everyone else that's come in. Really good to talk to you all. You've been watching. I've screwed the extra again, haven't I? Because what I haven't done is done this. You've been watching Drinkers with Gaming Problems. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.